point of view.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here and an honor to be here with you. May I have my slides up?
If you click on your presentation, the slides
okay.
will come up.
Okay. I'm a professor of surgery at New York University Langone Medical Center, and I'm a visiting professor at University of Athens. You may be thinking to yourself, what is a surgeon doing among all these smart people? But I'll tell you that the relationship between interventional radiologists and surgeons have evolved very nicely over the last 2 decades, to the point where now we hold an equal position, if you will, at the multidisciplinary tumor boards. The task for today is to answer the question, how can the two teams work together effectively and efficiently to tackle initially inoperable tumor burden to the liver from colorectal cancer. And of course we need to learn how to do this in 180 seconds, which is a feat by itself. I'd like to start with the definition that the previous speaker should have touched upon. This is bilobar disease. This is metastatic disease to both lobes of the liver. This is inoperable. You don't need a surgeon. You do not need an IR guy. You need a medical oncologist to give high doses of induction chemotherapy to try to convert it to something like this, which is still bilobar, but is dominant, either right dominant disease or left dominant disease, where now you can do something to potentially cure the patient. So you can potentially have a curative intent. I'd like to, in the limited time, I'd like to touch upon two areas of really good collaboration. One is how interventional radiologists can help surgeons augment the future liver remnant. We've been doing this for a while. It's called portal vein embolization. And I'd like to also touch upon a very recent technique, a technique that has evolved over the last decade called OPS. Portal vein embolization, first, is a technique that's based on the axiom that the portal vein is trophic to the liver. So if you embolize, let's say, the right portal vein, which is often the case, then what happens, the left lobe hypertrophies. This takes about 3 weeks, so usually at 4 weeks you rescan the patient, you see the nice hypertrophy, and now you can operate safely, and the fear of liver failure is lowered. A tip is, while you do your PVE, especially your right PVE, consider ablating any small lesions you may have on the left side in the fear of growing in the month that will pass in between the two scans. Now, a word on Alps. Alps is not the glorious mountains we ski just north of Barcelona. This is Chamonix up in the Alps. Alps is a recent technique developed about a decade ago. The initials stand for Associating Liver Partition and Portal Vein Ligation for Staged Hepatectomy. Emphasis on the staged. It is a potentially risky method for resecting previously unresectable bilobar disease. By risk, I mean that the mortality and the morbidity of the operation is very high as 12% mortality. And that, by the way, is a number quoted by the teams that basically describe the procedure. So what is OPS? Basically, 2 operations. The first operation, you explore the patient, you ligate usually the right portal vein, and you transect the parenchyma in half. You cut the liver in half. But you spare the right artery, and you spare the drainage, the venous drainage in the back. A week or so later, you go back, and you complete your hepatectomy. This is a good way of effectuating increased volume on the liver remnant. It's like PVE++. What can IR do to improve on this? Well, instead of 2 operations, let's do 1 operation. Instead of ligating the vein, embolize the vein. And instead of transecting the parenchyma, use microwave ablation to ablate the parenchyma across the middle hepatic vein. you get about the same result, but you get a discount on the mortality from 12% to basically the mortality of an external right hepatectomy. In most hands, this should be 5% or less, and in experienced hands, it really should be about 1%. This is very important, meaningful progress. I think IR and surgeons are two very good friends. This is just the beginning of our friendship. It's an honor for me to speak here. Thank you for having me. Happy to participate in the discussion.